median of a triangle are the line segments from each vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. Find the lengths of the medians of the triangle with the vertices A is equal to 0, 0, B is equal to 6, 0, and C is equal to 4, 4. So I have this already drawn out. So we're looking for these three medians. Here's median A, here's median B, and here's median C. So we can go about this by finding, let's start with median A. So for median A, we need to find the midpoints between C and B. And after we find this midpoint, we can then do the distance between that midpoint and point A. So let's start doing that. So first we need to find the midpoint between B and C. So I'll just abbreviate midpoint for mid for the line segment, or the line segment BC. So that is equal to, well, let me write out the points here again. So this is 0, 0, this was 6, 0, and this is 4, 4. So our midpoint formula again is x1 plus x2 over 2 and y1 plus y2 over 2. So that would make this 4 plus 6 over 2 and 0 plus 4 over 2. So that means our midpoint is equal to 5, 2. So now that we have this midpoint right here is 5, 2. So now we want to find the distance from this point to A, and that'll give us the median. So the median of A is equal to the distance from 0, 0 to 5, 2. And we use the distance formula for that. So let's write that out. Distance is equal to the square root x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So we just stick in our points. Distance is equal to 5 minus 0 squared plus 2 minus 0 squared. So the distance is equal to 5 squared plus 2 squared. It's equal to 25 plus 4. So the distance is equal to the square root of 29. So the median, oh, there we go. So the median of A is equal to the square root of 29. So now we have this as the square root of 29, this distance right here. So now let's find B. So for B, we're going to want to find the midpoint between A and C. So the midpoint between 0, 0 and 4, 4. So let's go down and do that. We'll do this one green. So the midpoint between A and C is equal to, well, let's write down the points so we don't forget. 0, 0, 4, 4. So that's equal to x1 plus x2 over 2. Remember, so 0 plus 4 divided by 2, comma, 0, 4 over 2, and this they happen to be the same. So our midpoint is equal to 2, 2. So let's scroll back up and see where that is. So a midpoint between A and C, so this right here is 2, 2. So now that we have this midpoint, we need to find the distance from the midpoint to B, which is 6, 0. So the distance from 2, 2 to 6, 0. And that'll be the length of the median. So the median of B is equal to the distance from 2, 2 to 6, 0. So now we put this into our distance formula. So our x2 is 6 minus our x1, which is 2 squared, plus our y2, which is 0, minus our y1, which is 2 squared. And this gives us 4 squared plus negative 2 squared. And that's equal to 16 plus 4, which is equal to the square root of 20. So the median of B is equal to the square root of 20. So now we have two of our lengths. So we said this one, A, was the square root of 29, and now we just figured out this length, B, is the square root of 20. So now we only have one more, and that is C. So we need to figure out the midpoint between A and B. And once we figure out this midpoint, we then figure out the distance between the midpoint and C. So A and B is 0, 0, and 6, 0. So let's find out that midpoint. We'll use, I don't know, this color. So the midpoint between A and B, which is 0, 0, and 6, 0, is equal to x1, which is 0, plus x2, which is 6, divided by 2, plus y1, which is 0, 0 plus y2, which is 0, which is also 0, divided by 2. So that leaves us with the midpoint of 3, 0. So now we have this midpoint, 3, 0. Now we need to find the distance between 3, 0 and 4, 4. So let's do that. So the median of C is equal to the distance from 3, 0, which is our midpoint, to 4, 4, which is point C. So that's equal to the square root x2, which is 4, minus x1, which is 3 squared, plus y2, which is 4, minus y1, which is 0 squared. We simplify that, so we have 1 squared plus 4 squared, which is equal to 1 plus 16, which is equal to the square root of 17. So the median of C is equal to the square root of 17. So now we have all three sides. found out that the median of A, this length right here, was the square root of 29. B, the median of B, we found that was the square root of 20. And we found that the median of C was square root of 17.